Yeah, it's K Divine. I was just thinking this morning a little bit about how I started noticing the people who benefited from my brokenness, people who um, were abusive in whatever way they were abusive towards me, and how when I started noticing how scared and nervous they were when I started to heal, and I want you guys to notice these things in these people so that it's time to exit. Or not even just people who are abusive, but people who don't truly like you, your those fake friends, those coworkers that are in secret competition with you. Just people who fake nice with you. They fake all that BS with you you know, just to be near you so that they can utilize you for whatever. So, first I want to talk about like specifically like narcissistic family dynamics. When you're the black sheep or the scapegoat in the family, when you begin to heal and you begin to forgive yourself for the things that happened to you when you were younger, when you begin to forgive yourself for the decisions that you made because of your brokenness, because you didn't have that support that you needed, and you start to just accept things as they are, and you want to move forward, and you don't hold on to that pain and harbor all of that for forever. The people who benefited from your brokenness, the ones that have been going around for all this time telling people that you're crazy, that you have mental health problems, and that you're not sane, and all these other things. A lot of them also have benefited from being able to bully you. Like, for an example, with me, I've always been considered a sensitive. I was always a sensitive kid. I'm a sensitive person. And when I started to heal and I stopped, taking it personally when my mom and my sister would talk about me crying, because I cry to release. That's the way that I do it. That's just me. And they would always make fun of me for it. And it's like after a while, I was just like, I don't care that you think that it's funny. I don't care. And I started to notice that they started to notice that when you start to heal, it starts to make them uncomfortable. And it makes them uncomfortable because, one, they can't trigger you anymore. And before, when they were able to trigger you, that in itself was them being able to project all of the negativity, all of their bad emotions. Because have you ever noticed, like, a lot of abusive people, you could have been doing absolutely nothing to them, but they bring problems to you and make it your problem, and they just dump on you, whether they're bringing their relationship issues to you, or they just were having a bad day and all of a sudden they want to take it out on you. I think a lot of us may have grown up with parents who used to do stuff like that. Like, they used to have bad days at work and then they would come home and start yelling and screaming at you as if you did something. It's stuff like that. They um they project their feelings and emotions onto you because they don't have the capacity to deal with it on their own, and so they make it your responsibility. And as the black sheep and the scapegoat, oftentimes all of that falls on you from the entire family bloodline. All of the things that were swept under the rug, all of the family secrets that nobody talks about, like, they project all that stuff onto you. And when you start to heal and you decide that you're not taking on other people's pain because you have enough to deal with on your own, that's when they start getting nervous. And this is usually the point in time when a smear campaign is going to start, because they're afraid of what is going to happen if you start telling people what it is that you experience. This is why they get ahead of you and start calling you crazy. This is why they get ahead of you and start making sure that anyone that hears from them, they mention you and say, like, well, I'm stressed out because, well, my sister, she's always had mental health issues, and she's starting to just sound really crazy now, like, and we're worried about her. They do that fake concern shit. They start claiming that they're concerned and that they're worried that because we don't know what she's talking about. Because and they get ahead of it because one, they want to make sure that if someone hears something negative about them and their character, that they automatically think that you're lying and that you're crazy and that none of those things happen. This is why, especially with narcissistic parents, they'll downplay or they'll completely deny experiences that you've had. They'll say like, well, that didn't happen, or like, well, I don't really remember that, or well, I did the best that I could. And it's like, I understand that you may have done the best that you could at the time if that's the way you want to perceive it, but it doesn't deflect the fact that what you did or what happened to me was traumatic and that it took a toll on me as a child. And narcissistic parents don't want to accept that because they feel like you should just accept their abuse because they feel like they're allowed and entitled to abuse you. This is why they get scared. And you have to also understand this. If they were truly concerned about you, they would be trying to help you. They would not be going around to other people tarnishing your name and your reputation so that they can look like the hero in the situation, because a true parent that is really concerned about their child's mental health will go above and beyond to ensure that that child or adult child is getting the help that they need, and they will be right by their side. Also, a real parent whose child or adult child is coming to them and saying, this that you did at whatever point in my life or that you've done recently has hurt me, that parent would be remorseful and say, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that my actions hurt you and harmed you. How can we fix this? How can we make this better? This is how you know the difference between like real love in a family and a toxic family, because toxic families sweep everything under the rug. When abuse happens, when they just act, they want you to pretend like that nothing happened. Oh, that's just how family. That's those families that say things like, well, you don't have to like them, but you gotta love them. No, you don't. No, you don't. I didn't realize that being a part of this family means that the elders get to be disrespectful to me, and I'm just supposed to accept it because, oh well, when you have kids they gonna send you a couple gifts, so that's supposed to make up for them being disrespectful to me. No, I don't want no parts of that. I remember when one of my aunts, like, I stopped talking to her because she was always just so disrespectful to me, to my mom, to my sister. She's disrespectful to everybody. Like, she felt like her opinion was law. And she's married into the family. You're not even blood. Like, you are married into the family. You are married to my mother's brother, and you feel like you can come into this family bloodline and have your opinions, but really those were insecurities. And the reason why I know that she was insecure is because of the things that my mom told me about her when they first met back in the 80s, when she and my uncle started dating and got married. And my mom told me that because she's a darker skinned woman, and my mother and her sister are lighter skinned. They're both darker than me, but they're lighter skinned. My mom told me that my aunt didn't like them really, and she told them later on that she didn't like them because they were light skinned, and she thought that they thought that they were better than her. And I can tell this is a common theme in this family. I feel like she might have been jealous because I mean my family is not like, I may not fuck with them, but we have beautiful people in our family. Like, they're all very attractive to me. They're all very attractive people. They have terrible, horrible demonic spirits, but physically they're attractive people. So I think that she has always felt some type of way. We produce pretty kids. Like, the bloodline, we got pretty families. Like, and I'm sure that a lot of y'all also have a lot of beautiful people in your family, and you got to realize that some people are just jealous because they think that you are attractive, and they hate how pretty you are. They hate your aura and things of that nature. So anyways, moving on. But the reason why they start ganging up on you is because it's easier for them to call you the crazy one and ostracize you than to actually talk about the things that happen. And I noticed this in my family when I was by myself with them. My family treated me differently when my mom wasn't around. They would tell me how they didn't approve of her marriage that she had, and how they were like, we told her that we didn't like him and she should have never married him. And then it's because they know when I was 5 or 6 years old, I went to my aunt's house and she was doing my hair, and I was spilling all the tea about what was happening in that house. Hold on. But I was spilling all the tea about what was happening in that house. And I remember after that situation, because it was just me and my aunt Vicky. Those was the only two people. Like, it was just us. And I remember after that, I didn't see anyone in my family for a while. And I think it was mostly because my mom, one, didn't, she didn't, she was mad at me because I was being the whistleblower about the abuse that was happening. My mom didn't want to be viewed. I think my mom already, like, she doesn't have to tell me this, but she was kind of already viewed as the screw up child between all of her siblings. And not saying that she wasn't, like, successful. Like, she's a college graduate. She had bought her own house and all of that. But I mean, as far as the traditional routes go, everyone except for her youngest brother, at least had gotten married and had their kids, and she was the only single mom. And I know that by the time that she really did get married, and because she was married to a minister, that she was hoping that her family would be more accepting of her and her decisions and be like, well, look, I married a pastor. Look, like, oh, I'm a first lady. I'm a good Christian woman. And she was hoping that she would get more recognition and more acceptance from her family, but they didn't like him, and he wasn't a good fit for her. He wasn't a good fit for us. He wasn't, he was not a nice person. And it just solidified more me as the whistleblower child, the truth teller child, that she was making another bad decision. And I think she's always resented me for that, for being the truth teller, which a lot of y'all who are the black sheep, you're the truth teller in the family, and they don't like you for that. But the family accepts you being the scapegoat child because they can also abuse you, even though they know that what you've been saying isn't a lie. And then on top of that, if you're neurodivergent, it's even worse, because then they most especially the boomers, they truly, they don't believe in things like autism and ADHD and stuff like that. They're just like, oh, those are just excuses. You're like, what? Which most of them are neurodivergent themselves. So when all of this stuff starts to come into focus for you, and you start seeing your family for what they are, you start seeing the situations and things, the trials and tribulations that you went through growing up, and even as an adult, just seeing things more clearly, and you start taking a different route, a different path, and you start separating yourself from those people, they're going to start trying to make you out to be the villain in their story, because they need to try to keep the family looking perfect, which is just so crazy to me. Like, this is why I choose to be, like, alone. And this is why now I really don't care about what people say when it comes down to me not messing with my family, me not communicating with them, me going no contact with them, because I refuse to be a part of a system of people that is fake. They don't like each other at all. They talk negatively about each other all the time. My mom even said to me, like, I know that they talk about me. They talk about everybody. When you're not in the room, you're the topic of discussion. So it's like, this is why I told y'all that y'all success is imminent. It's inevitable. Your success is inevitable, because now you don't have these people holding you down. You don't have these people sitting here trying to convince you that you're not as great as you are. Everyone has made mistakes in their lives. No one is perfect. But the difference between you and your family is that you're willing to accept the things about yourself that aren't perfect. You're willing to take accountability for the things that you have done that just weren't right. You are the only one out of all of them who's willing to say, you know what, I didn't always get it right, and I'm not always going to get it right, but I'm going to keep going forward, and I'm going to keep getting up, and I'm just going to keep doing it. It's kind of funny because she's listening to Trolls right now, and she's talking about every time I get knocked down, I'm going to get back up again. And that's exactly what you do. And you're going to do it without their help, because a lot of people, that have good families, their family supports them. Their family allows them to, be who they are, and they let them, they help them when they need it. But you're going to be successful without them, and I promise you that when you do become successful, when things start to look up for you, when the opportunities start to come, when the money starts rolling in, because a lot of y'all are the generational curse breaker, you are going to take your family out of poverty. Your bloodline, at least. I won't say your family because they can't go with you. But you're going to take your bloodline out of poverty, and those people from your family, those former friends, like all of those people who did not support you, they're going to try to come back around and try to pretend like, oh, well, we always knew that you was going to make it. No, the thing, because especially in a toxic family, the black sheep is oftentimes the goat, because the black sheep sees everything that is wrong about the family bloodline. The person who's oftentimes the golden child is just the person that they pedestalize, that sits and they act like the family is great. And they stroke the elders' egos, and to them, that person makes the family look good, and apparently you don't, because you're different. You don't do the same things as them, you don't believe the same things as them, so they're like, yeah, no, this person's not, they're not for us. Also, a lot of them don't want you to be successful. This is why a lot of them will find ways to sabotage you. This is why I believe that you need to cut. When you cut them off, you have to cut anyone and everyone that's associated with them, or anyone that they can get access to, because they will try to find ways to sabotage you. You'd be surprised how many of your friends and classmates and stuff that you grew up with, your family has gotten in contact with, trying to see if they can get information about you and to see what's going on with you, because they're not there. And they want, and that's why sometimes people who you ain't spoken to in years will randomly pop up on social media messaging you, talking about some, hey, long time no see, what's going on with you? And it's just like, why are you talking to me? And it's like, oh, we just haven't heard from you in a long time, we just want to know what's going on. It's usually somebody from your family who's just trying to see what's up with you, so they can send that information back, because then they'll ask you a question or two, and then they'll disappear. They won't have a full conversation with you at all. If you've ever had that happen, I've had that happen to me several times, where people I haven't talked to in a while, and I'm like, oh, hey, what's up? And they're like, oh, not much, how are you, and what's going on with you? And I'm like, oh, I'm doing XYZ right now, blah blah blah. Oh, cool, that's good to hear. And then I'm like, what's going on with you? And then they ghost you after that. You don't hear from them. You're like, that was weird. Yeah, because they're just getting information on you to take back to someone else. So don't fall for that shit. But like I said, the more you heal, that's when the smear campaign is going to rev up, and that is when you're going to see that these people are terrified of your success, because one, the truth about them is coming out, and they have had so much success over the years, painting you as the problem child. They have painted you as the problem in the family, and it doesn't benefit them to have you be successful, because one, they can't take credit for it. Two, all of the lies that they told about you crumble, and they lose credibility. Y'all, I was just talking about why the narcissist will end up being alone, And part of your glow up, the part of you being successful, that's your success is their downfall. Because I know that the narcissist often believes that, but the only reason why that ends up being the case is because of all the lies that they told. They went around talking about you, calling you the problem, saying that you have mental health issues, and then one day, all of a sudden, people see you and you look good, you're healthy, you're doing well for yourself. You weren't begging them for money, you didn't ask them for anything. You made it out the mud. You know, your blessings have materialized, and they can't take credit for that. And on top of that, now the people who have heard all of these lies and stories about you, they're like, I thought you said they were mentally ill, so like, how did they do this? I thought you said they was going to be in the psych ward, or like, I thought you said that this and this was going to happen. And I thought you said that they were, a criminal, but none of this stuff looks bad to me. Like, how did that happen? And now the narcissist is sick because they don't have a good excuse. They don't have a good enough lie that's going to keep people hooked anymore. And this is how they end up alone, because this is when people will start leaving them in massive shifts. Like, people are going to completely do a 180 on them. They're going to be like, oh no, this person's crazy. That's when the narcissist gets revealed for who they are. The truth will always come to the light. The narcissist only gets away with it for so long, because the way that I see it, why the narcissist is already getting karma for the lies that they told, but the biggest karma that they receive is your success, because none of their lies are real, and they're seen for the liar that they are. And the people who doubled down with them on the lies that they told, those people lose too. I feel like sometimes those people lose the most, because people question, like, so you supported this and you knew? Especially when it comes down to your family. When people find out that, like, you have your abusive parent gets exposed for being abusive, and then stuff about them starts really coming out, and the golden child, or the family members and your siblings that supported them, and they're going to sit back and say, so you knew that this was happening to your brother, to your sister, to your sibling, and you didn't do anything about it? People's gonna start looking at them sideways too. For some people, because of the things that are going to be revealed about that narcissistic person, people who aren't even that close to them, like, like distant relatives and stuff, when they find out, like, that's your cousin, that's your auntie, that's your uncle, that's your brother, like, some people are going to lose out on opportunities, because they're like, we don't want people connected to that type of stuff in our group, at our jobs and stuff like that. Like, people are going to start, they're tainting their bloodline by coming after you, because they could have just left you alone. Think about it. Like, your narcissistic family, they could have just let you go, and they could have just pretended like you didn't exist. They didn't have to smear your name. They didn't have to ruin your reputation or anything like that. They didn't have to do any of those things. They could have just left you alone and been like, okay, well, they don't want to be a part of our family. Good. Because at the end of the day, the thing that I will never understand about narcissistic families is that they claim that they don't like you. They talk negatively about you all the time. But when you decide to leave and say, okay, well, since I'm the problem, I'm just going to remove myself, then they get mad. What are you mad for? You're mad. They're mad, and I may go watch my video about, they're mad because their punching bag is gone. They're mad because there's no one else to project all those feelings and all that hate onto, because you decided to leave. The only reason why they want you to stay in the toxic family system is for that reason. This is why when you start to slip away, they start to try to love bomb you. They will start to love bomb you so hard. They will send you gifts. They'll start saying real nice stuff, giving you compliments. Like they will start doing all of that because they don't want you to go. Because everyone has their limits, and that's when the narcissist starts getting scared, because they're like, oh no, did we go too far? Yes, you did. Everyone gets tired after a while. It's just like, okay, I'm tired of doing this. And when you make the conscientious decision that you're not going to continue to deal with it, that you're not going to listen to these people anymore, that you're not just going to take their crap from them, that's when they start feeling like, oh shoot, because they were getting. This is why they thought you were weak. This is why they thought you were stupid, because you stuck around for so long, and they thought that your forgiveness was permission to keep abusing you. And now that they no longer have that forgiveness, now they have to start reflecting and taking accountability, like, well, why am I going out of my way to mess with this person? They don't want to have to think about those things because they're so used to just being able to do it. And they also, like, they feel, a lot of these people feel betrayed and disrespected because you don't want to be disrespected anymore. And they're like, how dare you not want to be disrespected by me? This is why they start calling you crazy and saying that you're ungrateful. Well, I bought her this and I sent her kids these things and she didn't even say thank you. I remember, like, when my aunt was trying to love bomb me after I had my daughter, and she had sent me stuff through Amazon, and so I sent back notes on Amazon thanking her for it. And she was mad at me because I didn't call her or text her and say, I received the items, thank you so much. And she was like, we haven't heard from you. And like, she wanted, I was like, I did. Like, I sent you back a note on Amazon. I was thanking you for it. Just because I didn't text you or call you doesn't mean that I didn't try to reach out in some way. I just didn't care to call her or text her. Like I said, I sent the thank you back on the Amazon purchase, which she should be able to see via email. Like I said, thank you. But because I didn't do it the way that she wanted me to do it, she was upset. And when I completely stopped talking to her, her and my mom were trying to figure out how, because my mom had came to me once and asked me like, oh, well, what do you need? And I was like, well, I don't really need anything. I was like, but I could use some more wipes and stuff, like, because I never, ever, ever, ever asked them for any big items. I always said, like, whatever people send me gift wise from our daughter, I'm grateful for it. Because it's like, they didn't have to send it. They don't have to give me gifts. If they want to, thank you. But I never went and asked them for anything. I remember my mom telling me, like, because my aunt and my uncle were very um adamant about, well, if you ever need anything, please just, don't hesitate to call us. And I told my mom, like, I don't feel comfortable just calling them and asking them for things for my daughter, because we don't have a relationship like that. For me to just randomly start calling people and being like, could you help me out with this, and that, it just didn't sit right with me. And I was like, she has a dad, and I work full time, so it's like I should be able to figure it out. And I always did. I always figured it out. And so that's why I say, like, I never asked for anything. Like, I'm like, if you want to give something, cool, thank you, we appreciate it. I'll always say, and I always would say, I'll always take the essentials. I always take diapers and wipes, because those things are expensive and she gonna need them regardless. So if you want to send her some wipes and some diapers, cool, thank you. But I'm not calling you and asking you, hey, can you buy this crib? Hey, can you buy this bassinet? Hey, can you buy me, like, I never did that. I never did that. Send her some books. Send her a stuffed animal, a toy, cool. If that's what you want to do, great. But my mom had came to me and asked me, like, well, what do you need? And I was like, I don't really need anything. I was like, but if I could use some wipes though, kind of running low on those. It'd be nice to not have to spend any money to go buy some. And then all of a sudden I get this Amazon package from my aunt with wipes in it, and I'm like, mm-hmm. They wanted me to beg them, because that's the narrative that they done spun, like I was incapable of taking care of my daughter and that I wasn't smart enough to be a mom. Because even my sister was trying to talk to me, like, I remember my daughter was sick once, And she was like, "Oh, well, you should ask the doctor if she's contagious." Like she was talking to me like I was stupid. Like I didn't understand taking my daughter to the doctor. I needed to ask certain questions. I was like, I'm aware of what I need to do. Like, why are you talking to me like this? And it's because they're mad that my family was mad because I wasn't responding the way that they wanted me to respond. They thought that I was going to have this baby and that I was going to be so overwhelmed and distraught and they wanted me to hate my daughter. Your narcissistic family wants you to hate your kids because they hate their kids. And my mom is not giving his. Hold up. But I know for a fact they really do not. They don't want you to have a good relationship with with your kids. They want you to be resentful and hate that you're a parent because they hated being a parent. They only had kids because they wanted someone to abuse because they were abused by their parents. And I could tell that my mom hated that I adored my baby. Because when you're abused as a kid and you decide to come out of that, oh, sorry, the baby, I want some attention. But um, when you're abused as a kid and you you start realizing what you went through, I realized like I don't want my daughter to experience this. I knew I didn't want my daughter to experience the things that I experienced, especially from me. I was like, I don't want her to feel like her mom doesn't love her. I don't ever want her to feel like I don't care about her. I don't ever want her to feel ignored or not accepted. So I was like, what can I do differently for my child that I didn't have growing up? Definitely having her dad was important, and I know that there was a period of time where we weren't working well together, and I didn't let her see him for a while, and I was scared at the time. Things were really weird at that. That was during like a really weird gang stalking thing. I didn't know who was involved and what was involved, and that's a different story. But definitely having her dad around was different. It's been different because her and her dad have a good relationship. Um, me being more calm, me being more mindful about our interactions and how I respond to her, definitely different. So this is why I don't believe in gentle parenting. I believe in conscious parenting. I feel like people take the word gentle the wrong way, and this is why I say conscious parenting. So being a conscious parent is so important to me, and I could tell that that bothered my mom because she wanted me to hate myself. She wanted me to hate my daughter, and she wanted me to go crazy trying to take care of her, and I'm not. So, but I just wanted to come on here and talk about that real quick. Um, let me know how y'all felt, and like if y'all are parents, like how do you parent your children differently than the way that you're raised? If you want to book a session with me, feel free to send me an email. Now that I'm working full time again, um, I do have some open availability, but you'll have to like let me know because right now I don't get my schedules until when every Wednesday, and I'm not sure when I'm gonna have like a more consistent schedule. It's gonna be probably a few more weeks. So if you want to book a session with me, just send me an email and we can talk about that time. But it's your girl Kate Divine. I love you guys. I'll see you later. Bye.